You're watching Theme Park Worldwide, where this afternoon I'm here at Blackpool Pleasure Beach to share with you all an update on the reimagining of Valhalla. Now I just wanted to talk a little bit about the story so far with this reimagining project. 2019, we was all there loving Valhalla as always, a spectacular world-class dark ride that I love and many other people do too. And then of course it was December of 2019 when the park posted on social media that the ride was going to be closed throughout 2020 for a reimagining project. And we all thought, oh, it's going to be really sad having Valhalla closed for a year. I thought I'm going to really miss it. But you know what? It's a year, they're reimagining it, and yeah, it's going to come back the year after. Then of course the COVID-19 pandemic hit, and that caused some major issues for Blackpool Pleasure Beach with this Valhalla project, which has meant that here we are towards the end of May 2022 and Valhalla is still yet to actually reopen. But yeah, there has been some developments. Of course, since earlier this year there was scaffolding up out the front of the ride, and that's now being removed. There's been some work going on in the turntable section that I'm going to show you shortly. And you've got to think, this is a dark ride, it's all indoors, so it is quite hidden from view and we don't really know what's going on inside there. However, we can now see a little bit of work that's been done here on the outside and a look at the turntable that's only really started happening over the past couple of weeks since that scaffolding came down. So come and join me, we'll have a look at that, and then I'll talk more about when I think we're going to be getting back on this absolute soaker and beast of a ride. Something that I've always loved about Valhalla is the impressive facade. However, this isn't actually the original facade to this ride. The section on the left hand side there is part of the original. However, all of this was completely refurbished the last time Valhalla had a reimagining, if you like, and that happened over the 2011 closed season, and then the ride reopened at the start of May 2012 after having the facade redone. Now this section up here is what I'm talking about in terms of the changes that have been made here to the front. Now up until a couple of weeks ago there was all scaffolding in place just here. However, now that's all been removed. Now I was thinking the scaffolding was probably there so they could get things in and out of the ride with ease here from the front, because obviously Valhalla is a multi-level ride, it's a huge show building, and yeah, it is a flume ride inside there, you know, with all sorts of different drops, lift hills, different sections that are kind of blocked off from the others. So yeah, I thought the scaffolding was probably in so they could get things in easier and bring things out. However, that scaffolding's come down, and literally over the past couple of weeks we can see this new steel framework that's gone in just here. Now this was actually at the section where you move forward onto a turntable and then it would spin you slightly before going down the backwards drop. That was the first major drop on the ride. Now something that really made Valhalla was kind of coming down into this section, looking out, you could see the park, you could actually see Blackpool Tower down in the distance, and then yeah, you would go down the backwards drop where there would be a big fan at the bottom of there that would be blowing right next to you, and really forceful actually, like a proper kind of special effects fan. And then you go into the bottom turntable for making your way forwards throughout the rest of Valhalla. But yeah, what's really interesting is how they've actually started to, what looks to be, block that in. Now, does that mean we're going to be seeing rocks put over there so it doesn't kind of have that section where you come outside anymore? Or is that maybe going to be perspex or netting on there? But then you think, if it was going to be, you know, netting especially, would it need all of that structure like it's got there? Or is it maybe going to be perspex? Maybe to stop kind of seagulls going in, you don't know, anything like that. Or is it literally for the fact that, you know, they want to make that now a darker scene in there for the turnaround section? Is there going to be new effects put onto there as well? But then it all comes back to the dates for this Valhalla project and the fact that we're now in May 2022, and of course we had the COVID-19 pandemic, which caused a lot of issues for a lot of places. It really did. It was a very difficult time. However, we're still here, and if this is the kind of progress that's been going on inside, there's still clear that there's a lot of work to do on the Valhalla project. And obviously all the construction fences are up here. When you're up on the flying machines, obviously we can't film on that ride, but when you are up there, you get a cracking view down towards the station. And yeah, you can see how the station's had a lot of work done to it. They've redone parts of the roof on there. Some of the wood was replaced with steel, and then they added some themed wood onto the side as well, which is great to see. However, this seems to be taking much longer than it should have, which makes me think, what is really going on inside that show building? Now, I've said this before over the past couple of years, but I will repeat it and say it again for those of you that haven't seen my previous updates about Valhalla. I do feel like a big part of the reasoning behind the reimagining was more of a safety aspect, because there was parts of this ride that did feel very edgy at points, and from a safety point of view, definitely needed working on. And I remember, God, it's got to be going back maybe 4 years now, and when me and some friends were on there, and yeah, we got evacuated from the ride. However, the evacuation corridors were about 1 foot deep in water. So there were certain aspects, especially when it came to the safety of the ride system, evacuations, all that kind of thing, where it really did need some work. So I thought that was probably the main reasoning behind it. However, of course, we do know the ride's going to be having a new soundtrack. That's already been confirmed. Hopefully it's going to be different throughout the scenes. However, I do still hope we have a nod to the original, because that really made the ride. We've also seen on the Pleasure Beach official social media channels, such as TikTok, where they've been doing a lot of teasing from inside the ride. And not too long ago, in fact only a few weeks ago, it seemed like a promotional photo shoot was going on inside one of the major scenes, which is the cold room, the ice room. So it looked like there were some changes going on in there. So I'm still expecting this to more be a change of the soundtrack and a few changes to the scenes, but when it comes to the behind the scenes operation of the ride, evacuation, safety protocols, that of course has always got to be paramount, I think that's more still what has been done inside this, which is a positive thing in my opinion, because the ride experience was great. It just needed the effects to be more reliable. And you've got to think this ride is now 22 years old. It opened in year 2000. As much as it's not operated for 2 years, technology has really come a long way in 20 years, making it more sustainable. The fact that, you know, there's a lot of fire effects in that ride, making it more sustainable is something that I think they've done. So yeah, they're my kind of thoughts on it. But also there's something I wanted to talk about, and that's Loki's bar right next door. So who remembers when there used to be a gift shop just here on the right hand side for Valhalla? I certainly do, and yeah, I used to absolutely love the merch that they did back then. As much as merch is even better for the park now. Yeah, with Valhalla back in the day, there was some awesome stuff. Now there's a lot of rumours going about that Loki's bar just here, as you can see from the signage at the top, may be turned into a partial gift shop. Now, I think we might still see a bar or food available in here, but yeah, at least a partial gift shop on the right would be great to see, because merchandise is something that Blackpool Pleasure Beach have really stepped up their game with in recent years. So yeah, there's a lot of rumours going about with that. There's also a lot of rumours about when is Valhalla going to be opening. And yeah, like I say, these are just rumours. There's no facts at all yet. However, I'm going to talk about those now. I cannot wait to get back on Valhalla. I absolutely love that dark ride, and as much as I'm a little bit nervous to see what changes they've made in there, I still feel like it's going to be an absolutely awesome experience, and kind of like a second version in a way of Valhalla. There's been a lot of things come and go with that ride over the years, but I do still feel like this is going to be the biggest change to it. The soundtrack changing is going to make it feel like a completely different experience, but I'm really hoping we see things like projection mapping in there. That's something that was unheard of back when this ride opened in 2000, and you've got to think the ride was under construction for a couple of years, so all of it was kind of planned in the late 90s. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of tech upgrades there's been inside there. Now, like I say, I do feel like this project has gone on for way longer than it needed to. Have they done 2.5 years worth of work in there? You can knock off kind of half a year in a way, when of course work couldn't happen because of the pandemic, but it still leaves it to 2 years. Are we going to see 2 years worth of work in there? The original time it took to build the ride, so are we going to see that? I don't think so. I think there's been a lot of kind of changes throughout the process, maybe some creative differences, hard to get some of the parts in for it maybe, but you know what, it is nearly there. Rumours. Now, the park have said summer this year. We keep hearing kind of rumours towards the end of July, start of August has been the most likely time for Valhalla to reopen. This is just hearsay, that's no official confirmation from the park. I'm also just as frustrated as anybody else. I want to get back on it. I also know from all the messages that we get that so many of you are kind of putting off coming to the park until Valhalla's back open. In fact, so many of you haven't actually been to the park these past couple of years because it's been shut. So that just shows how much of an impact this epic dark ride has. But you know what? We're not too far away. End of July, early August, fingers crossed for the reopening of this iconic ride. But again, that isn't set in stone. It's no official confirmation. It's just bits of hearsay that people have been saying, and it does seem to have kind of the logic behind it. I've been here on an off-peak weekday today. There's been a lot of workers the other side of that fence taking stuff in and finishing parts off in there. You can tell we're nearly at the end of this. They've been filming stuff promotional wise. All the billboards are out around Blackpool for it. I think Valhalla's going to be back in the next couple of months, and I cannot wait for it. But there we go. Interesting stuff with the turntable outside though. I really hope we don't lose that iconic view of the park and Blackpool Tower. But we'll see what happens. Like I say, these parks have got to move forward. I just really hope Valhalla is a step in the right direction and not a step backwards, taken away from the previous experience. That ride's won so many awards. It's world class. I love it, you love it, and we all want it to come back with a bang and be highly regarded around the world. But there we go. I'm Sean Sandbrook. Thanks for watching Theme Park Worldwide, and that leaves me with one final thing to say. Get out there and keep on riding. See you in the next video.